After 50 years of riding a motorcycle, I've run out of gas 2 or 3 times. I remember one time I ran out of gas as I was coasting into a gas station. Totally lucky. The other times I had to go beg and borrow for gas. But it's not a great feeling to be riding on a dirt road like I am right now and looking down at the gas gauge and having it flashing at you, not knowing how much is left in the tank. So I've looked at ways, how can I carry extra gas and also extra water when I'm off on both day trips and extended trips. So there's a lot of different options, and I came up with what I'm pretty satisfied is a solution, not one to maybe extend my riding by 100 miles, but it'll extend it a little bit, and especially if I should run out of gas, it'll definitely get me to a gas station or somewhere where I can find somebody with fuel. So if you'd like to see what my options are, stick around for this video and I'll show you what I chose. So let me show you really quickly what my solution is, and then I'll describe why I picked this. So what I have is 2 holsters, one on the left side of the bike and one on the right side of the bike, and they're connected to my crash bars. And inside of the holster I have a fuel canister on the left and a water canister on the right. So let me explain why I chose this. Today I'm taking a day ride up into the Klamath National Forest. It's right on the border of Oregon and California. Now on a day trip like this, I usually want to make sure that I got a fairly full tank of gas because there's not going to be any gas stations, anybody out here even to help me if I should run out of gas. And that's when I start to think about having extra fuel, even on a day trip. So I checked my gas. I've got about 3/4 of a tank. Now the Yamaha Tenere 700 has a 4.2 gallon gas tank, and it gets about 54 miles per gallon, so they say. And so the range for a full tank of gas is around 215 miles. I doubt that that's true. I think it's probably a little less than 200 miles. And the reserve light comes on fairly early, so there's still about 30 or 40 miles of gas left once the reserve light comes on. But there's no way to really tell how much gas you got once that reserve light's on. So like a lot of riders, once I see that light on, I get nervous, even if it's got 40 miles left. So I am interested in carrying reserve fuel mostly to get me out of trouble. So when I'm running low and I got to get out to where there's a service station, a gas station, I feel a lot comfortable if I know I've got extra fuel. Now I also like to carry water on a day trip, of course, and there's different ways to carry water. If I'm going on an extended trip, multi-day, out into the dry parts of Eastern Oregon, let's say, I'll carry my water bladder. Now, if you've seen my previous video where I discussed my dislike for carrying a backpack on a motorcycle, then you'll understand that I really don't like to do that on a day trip. I don't like to carry a backpack. That's it. So I'm not carrying one today. So there's got to be some other way to carry water other than in my backpack, in a bladder, or in a backpack in a bottle. So that was the other reason to look at how to carry extra fuel, how to carry extra water. Carrying extra water is a fairly easy problem to solve, but carrying extra fuel, there's some alternatives. Some people just carry a 1 gallon utility gas can, the type you fill your lawnmower with, but that's bulky and flops all over the place, so I kind of count that one out. You can buy an auxiliary fuel tank. Those are very expensive. They'll get you a lot more range, but they tend to be bulkier. I don't really want to go that route either. A third way, which seems to me to be pretty good, is to buy a fuel bladder. And they have different sizes of fuel bladders, and I'm considering that for longer trips where I really want to extend my ride, not just for emergency fuel, but to extend the ride. But for emergency fuel, I think for me the fourth option, which is the one that I'm going with, is a small fuel bottle. And so let me show you what I've got now as far as extra fuel and extra water on my T7. I carry my fuel bottle and my water bottle in a nylon and mesh holster. Now I bought this on eBay, and it was only $10 each, so it's a real good price. And it has this, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, the mole system, kind of a tactical way to mount something like this onto a backpack, or in my case onto my heed crash bars. So it will mount differently on somebody else's bike than it does on mine. And this is a 30-ounce MSR fuel bottle that you can buy at any sporting goods store, REI. You can buy it online. They're around $20 or so. I can't remember exact price, but it's a little less than a liter. But this will get me about 15 miles extra if I need it, and boy, that would really help if I ran out of gas here. I'm in the woods. There's nobody can be coming anytime soon. So if I did run out of gas, this would just about get me to at least a civilization where I could bum some gas. Now, like I said, this is a holster, and to make it, keep it from flopping around, I'm using this bungee cord here. You can see without the bungee cord, this would be flopping as I'm riding. So with the bungee cord, I have it strapped to my heed basic upper crash bars, and that keeps everything from flopping. I put an extra loop on it, which I can't do with one hand, but that keeps this thing steady and doesn't flop around. Now the other part is hooked up here on the Velcro foam Velcro of my heed crash bar bags. So it's hooked up onto the Velcro and then fastened in the back here, and that keeps it nice and steady. Like I said, this isn't going to work for everybody's bike, but you may be able to fasten it onto other types of crash bars or other bikes, because it has this mole system as well as a strap in the back there. But it's for $10, it was worth a try for me, and it seems to work. And on my right side right now, I'm carrying a water bottle. This is a growler, so it's a full liter size, and it fits in there really, really nice and tight. It doesn't bang against the gas tank on the T7. However, it is a little bit warmer because the engine's right here. So if you really like ice cold water, this might not work for you, because it's gonna melt whatever ice you have in there, and the water's gonna get a little bit warmer. That's a downside to carrying water right next to the engine like I'm doing. But I'd rather do that than have it sitting on my back, at least for a day ride. And again, it doesn't bounce around much. It's nice and fastened tight here, and then fastened again onto my heed crash bars and the heed bags. So I like it. It works good for day trips. And on an extended trip, I would trade out my water bottle here for a second fuel bottle. And in that point, on a multi-day trip, I'll most likely be carrying a water bladder, either in my luggage in the back or possibly in a backpack on my back, depending upon how I'm feeling that day and what kind of luggage that I've got on it too. All right, I'm back on a forest road on a dirt road, and if you look down, you can see the bottles that are right here next to my knees and my legs. They're really steady. They're not bouncing around. There's plenty of room for my legs. My knees aren't hitting them, so they're tucked in there really perfect. I really like that. The straps really help to hold them tight onto the crash bars. So it seems to be a solution that's going to work for me, at least for day trips, and I'll probably use it on long and extended trips as well, maybe with 2 fuel bottles instead of a single fuel bottle and a water bottle. Ugh, water. Well, I hit a little slick spot coming up the road and couldn't get my foot down in time, and there's a Nomad on the side, so gotta get her up. Oh boy. So there's a reason why I spent $200 for the Motowinch. It's in cases like this where I'm out on a dirt road somewhere all by myself. Nobody's going to be around here anytime soon, and the bike goes down. Oh man, Motowinch. I love it. I love it. All right, see if I can get it, keep it up right now. Stay out of this slippery patch that's right ahead of me. That's still slipping. All right, I'm gonna take it easy.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notify button if you'd like to see more of my senior moments.